Get it popping. About to make this thing happen. Let me go on the Facebook. Get it going on that side. And going to talk about boundaries a little bit today. 5 things that I used in my daily life. Good afternoon, kind sir. To help me to set and maintain healthy boundaries in my life. All right, we got the Facebook moving. All right, there we go. This tripod, one of the legs is acting like it wants to snap on me. That would be funny. But anyway, all right, we got the Facebook moving here. Let me send this out to a couple of my folks. And we're going to dive right in. Boundaries. We're going to talk about boundaries a little bit. This is I'll use the word, this is an issue, a concern for most of us, because we find let me not get ahead of myself, but we're going to talk about boundaries a little bit. Let me wait a couple seconds here. We're going to dive right in. Some water would be nice. Here we go. I've been really enjoying showing up every day and doing these master classes. I've been standing as practice and preparation for some things that I have coming up, where I'll be on my feet, required to stand and deliver for hours on end. James, my guy. Super proud of you, brother. You're the man. So I've been standing, I've been getting myself together, been making this thing happen. I've been even standing during my coaching calls, which I think it was a bit much. I think it's a bit much, but it's okay. I just explained and what's going on, because when I'm sitting, I'm more controlled, but once I'm standing, my hands are going and I'm letting the emotion fly a little bit more. So yeah, I had an intense call this morning, brought tears to someone's eyes. Wasn't my mission, but when you're doing hard work and you're connecting the dots, you're helping someone to connect the dots, that happens, right? That raw emotion comes in at times, and I'm like, listen, let the tears flow. It's all right. But let's get down to the nitty gritty. We're breaking up that ground so we can get these good seeds planted and begin to nurture some things, and some transformation is really taking place. So I'm excited, man. Super, super excited. So listen, I'm not going to wait. I'm going to go ahead and dive in, because my granddaughter's downstairs and I want to spend a few minutes with her. Love the world like I do. So boundaries, right? Boundaries. Healthy boundaries. I have conversations with people all the time, and what I generally hear is about people's friends and family, associates, people having issues with the people in their lives not respecting their boundaries, right? Especially as we begin to grow, as we're going through a process of transformation, right? When we're in growth mode, when we are leveling up, when we're bettering ourselves, when we are, skilling up, we're going through a process. And sometimes, it looks foreign to the people, especially those close to us, and they want to be in, but then they don't, or right? So that's one thing. They want to be a part of it because they see your growth, but it confuses them. It kind of, they don't know kind of where you stand. So they can begin to question what you're doing and how you're doing it. They begin to challenge some of the things that you're doing, and you start to feel a bit violated, because why are you questioning and challenging me? Like I'm bettering myself, right? I'm doing this because I want to become a better version of myself. And then we have those people who still have us in the box that we were once in, right? If we met and I was at level 6, but now I've leveled up and now I'm at level 8, headed toward level 9, you want to keep on dealing with or handling me from where I was when I was a level 6. And not only are you trying to handle me as such, but you also are, some of your comments and questions and some of the things that you are attempting to do is an attempt to keep me in that particular box, because how dare I climb, right? You know, almost not as harsh, but sometimes it's a kind of a crabs in the barrel type of situation. You're going up and it's like, whoa, 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 where you going? And, you know, sometimes it's genuine. Sometimes people just have questions, but then sometimes people can't accept the fact that you're different, you're new, that you are becoming, right? You're allowing that greater version of you to show up and flourish. And so as a part of our growth and transition, we have to learn how to set and maintain boundaries, right? Because if not, then our growth, then our process will be tainted, right? Or we'll have these hiccups, or sometimes we'll keep pausing and stopping to address certain things. And then what will happen is our energy we'll be using our energy to deal with and address people, places, and things that aren't even adding value to our lives. And so it's vitally important that we get this under control. So let's talk about it for a moment, right? So obviously there's a lot of things, right? I'm just going to give 5 in these few minutes and answer questions and comments and, you know, whatever. Let's do it. So, pardon me. So the first thing that we really, really need to do is to decide where we really stand, right? We have to decide. We have to make a decision. We have to make that hard decision. We have to really stand on who we're becoming and what we're doing, right? Here's what I find, and I experienced this myself, and I see this in a lot of folks. Could it be that they're not respecting your boundaries because you haven't quite decided? You've been on the fence. You've been dabbling in certain things, but you haven't quite decided. You're like you're wishy-washy, as they say, right? You haven't quite said, this is who I am, right? You're sometimey and you're wishy-washy, like you're focused and dialed in on Monday, right? Then on Tuesday, it starts to go down. On Mondays, you're no nonsense. I don't want to be bothered with anything that's not adding value to my life. I don't want to read anything, listen to anything. I'm unfollowing everyone. You know, I'm not answering texts if it's not adding value. I mean, we're standing tall. Then Tuesday, then Wednesday, and now by midweek, the end of the week, now all of a sudden, we've flip-flopped, right? Now all of a sudden, we've let our guard down, and now the thing that we were standing against or for on Monday, it's kind of fizzled away. And so now, me as a friend, as an associate, as someone in business, as someone close to you, as someone in your space, I'm only going to do what I'm allowed to do, right? I'm going to come and go as you allow me to come and go. I'm going to handle you as you allow me to handle you. But if you keep changing the rules, if the line keeps moving, how dare you? How dare you say I'm not respecting your boundaries? Actually, you're not respecting your boundaries. So the first thing that we have to do is decide where we stand. If we're in growth mode, if we're only dealing with certain things, if we're moving this way, if we're no longer participating in certain things, if we're not doing these things, if we've drawn the line, then we have to stand on that. And we have to be okay with what comes with that. But we can't be in and out and wishy-washy, right? We have to decide and determine who we are, right? It's an identity thing, right? I'm changing my identity. Yesterday I was this person, but now this part of me is coming forth and this is who I am, and I'm standing on these particular principles. So my identity has now changed. But if I keep flipping and flopping and changing it every day, how am I going to be upset with you for not respecting the boundaries that I don't even respect? So how about as a little add-on to decide where you stand, how about decide where you stand and you respect your own boundaries? I need you to respect my boundaries. Yeah, I need you to respect your boundaries. How about that? Right? How about that? How about if you're saying, no, these people need to respect my boundaries? How about you look in the mirror and say, you need to respect your own boundaries? So that's the first one, right? No more being wishy-washy, no more being sometimey, no more up and down, no more none of that stuff, right? We have to continue to stand, right? We have to continue to grow and to focus and to really, really lock in and respect our own boundaries and decide who it is we are and who it is we're becoming and conduct ourselves as such. So that's the first one, right? Me personally, that has really helped me over time, right? Because we can make these announcements, we can say some things, we can make an adjustment or two, but then as we continue to stand, as time goes by, then time will tell. And what happens is you don't have to make any announcements. You don't have to physically draw your line in the sand. Your decisions, how you move, how you show up, how you conduct yourself, that will create those lines, those boundaries, and people will honor them because you've been honoring them. Got it? So that's the first one. Now, if there's any questions or comments on that, by all means, throw them in there. If not, I'm going to keep on pushing through. So the second one, check your energy meter, right? What's he talking about? I always talk about budgeting, right? Budgeting your time and your energy, right? More aggressively, more monitoring that more closely than your money. You're going to make a couple more bucks, right? But your time and energy, those resources, you can't get that back. So if and when something how you spend your time and energy is everything, right? So we have to check our energy meter, right? Reflect on the people, places, and things in your life, right? And just take a moment, right? How did I feel before, during, and after that interaction, right? So one of my goals is to leave everyone better than I found them, right? Everyone I connect with. If we spend time together, you're going to be better off than you were before, you know what I mean, prior to our interaction. That's going to happen, right? I'm going to add value to you because I'm just a valuable person. That's who I am and what I do. So I have to look at situations and say, okay, the last time I spent time with this person, the last time I was in this particular environment, the last time I did this particular thing, I was reluctant to do it. And then when I was doing it, didn't feel good. I didn't really enjoy it. And then afterward, I crashed. Is this something that I want to sign up for again? Right? So I'm evaluating that. But then on the other hand, it could be like, man, I wasn't sure how I felt about doing this particular thing or meeting up with this person, but when we got together, boom, it was fireworks. Everything went great. We were vibing, and he or she was adding value to me. I was adding value to her, and things were going great. And boom, I walked away. My batteries were charged, and I was like, yes, this is what I needed. So as I reflect and evaluate the people, places, and things in my life, then that will determine how I go in, right? And how much of my time and energy I budget for, these particular people, places, and things. So that's the second way that we can maintain boundaries, right? Check our energy meter, monitor where how you felt before, during, and after the last time you interacted. And from there, you determine how much of your time and energy you're going to budget for a particular thing. And this will add on to number one, right? Because I'm deciding where I stand, right? I'm owning my identity through my decisions, right? So as a part of that, right, is me evaluating that. Okay, well, hey Salima, when I talk to Salima, the interaction, the exchange is always positive. It's always great. We feed each other's spirits. So that's someone I want to talk to more, right? That's someone that I should reach out to more, right? That's someone I need to be intentional about connecting with. See what I'm saying? And so, but if it's the opposite, if every time I see Salima, it's like, oh God, there she is. If you have those people in your life, then you have to draw the lines, right? You have to honor that, respect that, and not know that, and then sit there and spend an hour with this person who is just taking from you, right? Because then you walk away feeling worse, and then when you're not in a good state, then you make goofy decisions, and then your awareness is off, and then there's a domino effect that occurs. So these boundaries are vitally important. So that's the second one, right? We decide where we stand, right? And then we check our energy meter, right? And then we check out our budget, right? Is this in my budget? Is this in my time and energy budget? And if it is, incredible. If it is not, incredible, right? We keep it moving. So the third one is this: learning the power of yes and no, right? I don't think we realize how much control we have, how much power we have over our situation, right? Think about it. Everything in your life right now, you know, it is where it is because of a decision you made. You decided yes or no. You decided you were going to go left or right. You decided you were going to go up or down. You made a choice. So the choices that we make, the decisions that we make are vitally important, and we have to evaluate them, and we have to use them as a power, as a superpower, right? Your yes and your no are actually superpowers. So when I look at so let's say each decision in life is a fork in the road, right? Let's say all day long you're just coming to forks in the road. If you say yes, these are the potential outcomes, and you're going down this particular path, right? You're exposing yourself or opening yourself up, and you're inviting in the things that are down the yes path. If you say no, right? Same thing, right? You're restricting yourself, or you're separating yourself from the things on that side, and you're making the adjustments to go this way, right? You're not spending or investing your energy on those yes things. You decided to go this way, and so now your energy is budgeted for something else. So big time. So it's vitally important that we really, really understand the power of our yes and our no. This is how we maintain the boundaries. You know, hey, Tom, man. Hey, listen, man, we all getting together. We're going to the bar. We're going to do some shots and blah, 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 blah. Your yes and your no is going to determine what happens, how your night, weekend, week is about to go, right? What are you going to do in this particular moment? And this is what we allow ourselves to be bullied into situations, right? And let me be clear, someone inviting you to something is not bullying you, but the guilt that you put on yourself, what you tie to the no, right? What you tie to the yes, what you make those things mean, often bully us into certain decisions. So it's important that we are very, very careful and clear with our yes and our no, right? We understand what we're signing up for. So, I like to say it's either it's an emphatic yes or it's a no thank you, right? And here's the thing that a friend of mine taught me: no is a complete sentence. Pardon me. No is a complete sentence, right? Is it okay to offer an explanation? Of course it's okay. You can do what you feel, but you don't have to offer an explanation. No can just simply mean no. It's not in my budget. My time and energy budget. It's just not there. And that's your dialogue with yourself. But if someone reaches out to me, hey, Reese, you trying to do ABC, XYZ? No, I'm good. No. And I don't have to add any extra stress or pressure on myself by making the no mean something. The no doesn't mean I don't like you. The no doesn't mean that we're enemies. The no doesn't mean the no just means that I choose in this moment to set a boundary. I don't want to violate myself by taking part in this particular thing. That doesn't mean the thing is negative, right? That doesn't mean the thing is bad at all. It just means that for me in this moment, I've decided that I don't want to participate in this particular thing. It could be, and good or bad is relative, right? So it's not about, if I say no to something, it must be bad. Just means that in this moment, my time and energy is not budgeted for that particular thing. And that's okay. And I have to be okay with that, right? Oftentimes we're signing up and we're saying yes, yes, yes to everything. And then we have to apologize, and then we have to back out. When instead we can just have that boundary in place of that no or no thank you up front and save yourself the headache. Because now you say yes, and now for 2 weeks leading up to the thing, right? You're dreading it. You're beating yourself up. You're getting the text reminders about the thing coming up. It's like, oh man, why did I say? Well, you could have just said no from the beginning, and then you got to come up with some lame back out at the end. And then it's like, man, you should have said that from the beginning. Like, I've planned around you being there, and this is this and this, and we put people in a goofy position, and then it can create an issue or a rift or something, some goofy energy between us when it doesn't have to be that way. I can simply just say no, right? And again, we're talking about setting and maintaining healthy boundaries in our lives. So the power of your yes and no is an amazing superpower that will help you to govern yourself accordingly and set and maintain those healthy boundaries. So decide where you stand, check your energy meter, right? Learn the power of yes and no. And then to go along with the power of yes and no, right, we have to practice self-assertiveness, right? And oftentimes we associate the word assertiveness with aggressiveness, right? And that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is I said what I said, right? No, I don't even want to say it like that because that even sounds aggressive. Just be clear and be direct with your yes and no, and with your decision, and with where you stand regarding a particular situation, right? If you stand on this side, stand there and speak that clearly. There should be no, one of my goals, right? One of my goals last year, New Year's resolutions, right, was to eliminate gray from my life, right? Eliminate gray. What am I talking about? I need to know it either had to be on or off, right? We're either friends or we're not. We're either doing this or we're not. I'm on this side or I'm on this side, right? There was I don't like ambiguity. I don't like things that could go either way. That's too much stress and drama that comes with that, right? That's not a good place for me to invest my energy. So I evaluate everything in my life, and it needs to go into a place. Nothing is just kind of floating around in a gray area. This relieves your stress. It puts you at ease, and it gives you the power. You know what to say yes and no to because there's nothing floating around. There's no like, well, maybe. It's either over here or over here, right? So we need to keep things in their proper perspective, and we need to move things out of the gray area. So for me, there's no gray in my life. If we're friends, we're friends, and if we're not, we're not. It's okay either way. Of course, I love to have those positive connections and to build. But if we're not, that's okay too, right? But being in the middle and me not knowing and understanding and having to guess and wonder, no, that's for the birds. So eliminating the gray from your life, a way to do that is be direct, be clear, speak your mind, and stand on what you say. In that way, people won't here's what happens. When you do that, when you're clear, when you eliminate the gray, right? It's going to create boundaries because now that I understand who you are and where you stand, now I'm not going to even reach out to you for certain things. I'm not even going to create an expectation for you to do or be at or do certain, or, you know what I mean? Or participate in certain things. Exactly. Better clarity. Exactly. And when the clarity is there, this is a way to set boundaries, right? Here's the thing, right? Because I've been on this personal growth mission for so long, I've created these walls around myself, these boundaries. And what I mean by that is there are things that people won't even call me for. People won't even contact me to talk about, right? Because I've stood on that. And and it's like, nah, don't even trouble Reese with that, right? But if I was wishy-washy, if I was up and down and in and out, and if I was kind of floating in the middle, right, then, people are going to be wishy-washy and sometimes with how they deal with me. And then I would turn around and have the audacity on the days I'm over here to wonder why you asking me to be over here. Well, because you always in the middle and you dance back and forth. So both sides are going to try to pull you to those sides because you haven't chosen a side. So whatever the situation is and whatever that means to you, right, pick a side, right, and stay there, right? And stay there doesn't mean that you can't jump back and forth and maneuver, because I believe that a part of growth is being exposed to different things. So there are things that I believed wholeheartedly last year. I'm talking about would have bled for certain things. But as I'm growing, as I'm being exposed to more information, right? As I'm learning more, right? As my world is being expanded, some things that I stood tall on once upon a time, I no longer believe. So the truth is, your truth is ever evolving, right? Because you're constantly growing, or you should be, right? So for me, I'm not that in love with any particular thing, if that makes sense, because I allow myself to be open-minded, to listen, to process, and I allow myself to grow and become better. So if you think about it, there are things in your life right now that as you grow and mature, once upon a time were weird and corny and stupid and or not even on your radar. Now they're your daily principles that you live by, and you stand tall on those things. So as you grow, things will change. So I'm not saying pick this and stay here and that's just it, and that's how you maintain boundaries. No, I'm saying be clear on where you're at today, so I know how to handle you today, right? So I can respect the boundaries that you set today. And again, that can change tomorrow as you're exposed to new information, right? So I just wanted to be clear on that. So be assertive, right? Be crystal clear on your boundaries. Eliminate gray from your life. This will help you to maintain those healthy boundaries, right? This will help you to move through life in a way that's less stressful because you are clear on who you are. And the people around you are clear on who you are, right? And that will eliminate a lot of the junk from your life. So, and the fifth one that I want to share, and then I want to make sure I didn't miss any comments and answer any questions, pardon me, before I bail. So the fifth one I want to share is prioritizing your self-care, right? Act in your own best interest. So many of us, we make decisions and we sign up for things and we do things and we put ourselves around people in places and we're doing things that aren't in our own best interests, right? And then we have the audacity to blame the people, places, or the thing. No, it's not them. It's me, right? If I put myself in a goofy situation, in an environment that I know I don't need to be in, right? If something happens, God forbid, it's not the environment's fault. I picked to go there and do that. I did that. I did something that I knew was not in my own best interest. So we have to act in our own best interest, right? We have to be clear on who we are and on where we're going, and then we have to make decisions that map us toward who we are and where we're going, right? It's like, if you decide that you're headed this way or that you're in pursuit of this particular goal, and going over here is it totally takes you backwards or against who you are, right? Then why go over there, right? Why make a decision that's not in your own best interest? In your own best interest, right? So we have to prioritize, and prioritizing our self-care is acting in our own best interest, right? Doing things that are in our own best interest, right? Thinking thoughts, speaking words, and taking actions that add value to our own lives, right? Not things that take from us, right? So it is crazy how, and I'm guilty of this, of course, as well, how we're not on our own side, how we do things every day. We speak to ourselves in a manner, we make decisions out in the world, we interact with people, right? We allow ourselves, we put ourselves in positions that go against ourselves. Like we're in an adversarial relationship with ourselves, right? We're not our own best teammate, we're our own worst enemy at times. And how we're talking about boundaries. So the way to set boundaries is to prioritize self-care. If this situation, right, does not add value to me and to my life, if it's not moving me forward, then I need to make the proper decision to govern myself accordingly. So I create the boundary by making the right decision, right? By acting in my own best interest. How many goofy situations have you put yourself in, right? By the thoughts you think, right? The words you say and the actions that you take, not in your own best interest, right? How many times have you jammed yourself up? I didn't even have to do anything to you. You put yourself in a goofy situation. And that's the thing that happens with us, right? When we don't prioritize self-care and when we don't act in our own best interest. SJ, my guy, this was for you. You're going to have to watch it back, my brother. So let me see. I got a question. How do you deal with people that think your expectations are too high? This is a perfect example. Smoke alarm's going off in my house. Pardon me. My son's down there burning the house down. We're going to keep it going, right? It's not going to stop us because I'm sure he's fine. So, yep, I can smell whatever he's burning up in the oven. But anyway, so how do you deal with people that think your expectations are too high? So, again, right? We have superpowers, right? So, here's the thing. You have the power of focus. If you have expectations, right, then you have to stand on them. Where we mess up is that we flip-flop, right? We're wishy-washy. We say this is our expectation, this is our minimum, this is what we're going to expect, this is all we're going to take, right? But then we do this. But then on Tuesdays we accept this. You know, and on Wednesdays, no, we want to draw the line up here. But then on Fridays we accept this, right? So it's up to us to govern ourselves and to maintain our standards and to live out our standards. It's not up to us to convince people, right? And obviously I would need more information as far as the dynamic of the relationship. But if I'm in pursuit of a big goal, or if my expectations of you, I need a little more, but let's just talk about it. If I'm in pursuit of a big goal and I have people around me that are saying like, wow, like, how you gonna do that? And that are questioning my mission, what I do is, and I talk about this all the time, I limit my exposure. We're talking about boundaries, right? I evaluate the situation. This was one of the ones I shared. I talked about energy. If I'm clear that when we interact, you throw negative, you sprinkle negativity into the situation, you don't add value to me. I have these big dreams and goals. My energy and my time is committed to investing in myself so that I can accomplish these goals. So if I know that when we interact, this is the type time that you on, this is how you talk, and this is how you look at me, as if my expectations are too high, I limit my exposure to you. I don't share my big dreams with you, right? Our conversation changes. I talk about this a lot, right? If you have friends that like I'm a hooper, so you know a lot of my connections are through basketball. So there are some people who I play ball with who we talk about life and parenting and manhood and real stuff, right? Tests and trials and challenges of life, and we do it. Some people can only talk about basketball. And every time we connect, they want to go back to 1990 this and so I understand that, and it's okay, right? But I don't want to do that. So I limit my exposure to those people, right? So, and if they think that my expectations are too much, you know, then that's okay. They're allowed to think that, and, you know, hats off to them. But I set boundaries around myself by standing on those expectations, in this case, right? Maintaining my standard and focusing on where I'm going, right? And continuing to invest in myself so that I can accomplish the things that I set out to accomplish, because I'm going to get it whether they clap for me or not. But what I'm not going to do is I'm not going to limit myself. I'm not going to purposely, consciously expose myself to negativity, right? Because you can't see my vision. That's quite all right. I don't need you to see it, quite honestly. It'd be awesome, right? It'd be awesome to have people clap for you and cheer for you. And, you know, when you tell them that you have these amazing expectations and these things, right? You know, pardon me, and these things you're in pursuit of, if they were to clap for you and cheer for you and help you climb and offer you insight and support you, that'd be awesome. But if they don't, that's really none of your business, right? You have to continue to go forward. That's why the first thing I said was decide. Decide where you stand, decide where you are, and stand on that. So, listen, if someone thinks your expectations are too high, then that tells you right there, you know, then you have to decide where you're going to place them in your life, right? You're the CEO of your life. So you get to hire and fire, and you get to promote and demote, right? You get to put people in certain areas. And sometimes we want people to be in the C-suite with us, right? You know, you're the CEO, you want this person to be the CFO, and this person to be the COO, and this person to be the CMO, and, you know, y'all doing y'all thing. But sometimes where you're going, this person that you envisioned as the COO they can't see it, and they start to drill holes in the boat. So you have to you have to decide: are you going to just fire them? Are you going to demote them? Right? Are you going to, where you're going to place them in your life? And that's something that you have to do. You have to govern yourself accordingly. You have to govern yourself as the CEO. You have to manage your life and your relationships in a way that's adding value to your life, right? When you have a meeting, only certain people can come in certain meetings. There's the all hands meeting at the company, right? And then there's you, and then there's like just the supervisors and up. And the lay people are the people in the pews, right? the entry level people, they can't come to that meeting. But then there's the managers and up meeting. The supervisors can't come to that one, right? And then there's the executives, right? There's the directors and up, right? And then there's the C-suite. The C-suite might only be 3 of you, right? And it's 100 people in the company, if that makes sense, right? There's levels to this. And there has to be levels to your life. There's your inner circle, right? There's you, and there's your inner circle, the people that you keep close. And then there's that outer ring of other people who have a particular role, right? And then there's that outer ring. And listen, people, how they show up gives you the information that you need to decide where you want to place them in your life. So that's how I answer that. I know that was a lot. You might have to play it back, but I'm sure something in there made sense. Excuse me. Some people like to push their fears on you. Sometimes you have to ignore the ignorance. The expectation is too much for them. Abso-freaking-lutely. You have to be careful not to entertain their narrative. Bingo! Nailed it, as always. Exactly. So that's why it's so important to be clear on who you are and where you're going. Because there's always going to be people talking and people having opinions and throwing their information at you. And that's okay. Right? Don't expect a life where that doesn't happen, because it doesn't exist. So it's being so sure of who you are, so confident in your mission, and in setting and maintaining those standards. That's why I started with don't be wishy-washy, don't be in and out, up and down, because then that's why I challenge you so much. That's why I throw this narrative at you, because I'm looking at you and your life doesn't align with what you're saying. But when your life begins to align, people will fire themselves sometimes. So, thank you. I'm glad. Anything else I can I can address regarding boundaries or anything that kind of came up in this discussion. Thanks for planting the seed for this conversation, SJ. I actually forgot that I was supposed to do it yesterday, but then it hit me. I'm like, oh shoot! This morning at the gym, I was getting it in, and I'm like, I literally did that, like I did the Macaulay Culkin, like, you know what I mean? And I'm like, I immediately created a thing and fired it and posted it. But anyway, anything else I can address? Yeah, man. Yeah, I hit a couple of points, man, and then of course, if there's anything we need to go deeper in, man, you know. Just hit me up and we can talk through it for sure, because this is a vital thing. Boundaries versus obligation. See? Let me see, it's 1:10. Yeah, I got a minute. So, who determines what you're obligated to or who you're obligated to? You do, right? So these are the 5 things that I gave, right? And because it's you I'm talking to directly, but of course everyone else just walk with us. So these are the 5 things that I gave. Decide where you stand, right? Make a decision on who you are, on where you're going, and don't be wishy-washy. Don't be up and down and in and out. Don't be one person on Monday and another person on Wednesday and another person on Friday, and then have the audacity to question me respecting your boundaries. You don't even respect your boundaries, because who are you, right? Decide who you are and where you stand. That's the first one. The second one, check your energy meter, right? That's back to the question we just addressed, right? How am I, before, during, and after my last interaction with you, what was that like, right? Well, every time SJ and I get together, it's iron sharpens iron to level 1000, right? So we connect, we plug into each other, and we walk away ready to run through brick walls, right? So anytime he says, hey, do you have a minute? Hell yeah, I have a minute. Hell yeah, I have a minute, because I know what that interaction is going to do for me, right? So, but I process that in every other interaction, every person, every place, everything. I evaluate it, and then I check my energy budget, and I see, is this in my budget? It's always in my budget to talk to you. But there are some people in my life who, it's not really in my budget. And so because I'm called to do what I'm called to do, I still have to have boundaries, right? Because, to your point, because you're a giver and a servant, right? But then you still have to limit your exposure. So if I know that this interaction is going to cost me, like it's going to deplete all my energy, then I have to set the boundaries for the conversation. Hey, listen, I shared this with you before. Hey, it's 1:12. What's going on, man? I got a call at 1:30 that I need to prepare for, but I got a couple minutes. What's going on? Talk to me. Now they're going to get to the point. Boom, boom, boom. If I need to plant a seed, boom, boom, whatever I need to do. And then if I decide from that few minute interaction that it's worth investing a little further into, I decide that. I'm not obligated to do it. I decide what's next. I decide what's best because I'm evaluating everything, right? This is all about self-awareness and being conscious and living that conscious life, right? I'm not just kind of allowing the situation to dictate to me what's what. I'm in charge of how this is going to go. So the third one is learning the power of your yes and no. So yes and no are powerful, right? You said yes to some things, and your yes, right, with it came some requirements. So you said yes, and therefore, ... right? You said yes to take the call, and therefore, ... And you have the power to say no. You can evaluate the situation and look at, no thank you. No. Where y'all going? The bar around the way? No thank you. Bars around the way aren't for me. No disrespect to anybody else, right? You do what you feel, but around the way bars aren't for me. And if I find myself in an around the way bar, I made a goofy decision, and I need to correct that. And you can always course correct. So don't feel like if something happens and you just have to go all in and just go down with the ship. Hell no. You can always course correct, right? You can always make adjustments along the way. So, just because even if from this video you're like, man, I need to do a little better with my yes and no. So I said yes to something. I'm not going to be able to do it, blah, blah, blah. Maybe a little goofy moment. It may take a little something from you, but guess what? You know you, and you're not going to put yourself in that particular situation. And then from there forward, you understand the power of your yes and no, and you use it. You govern yourself accordingly, to use the language we've been using, right? You handle it in a different way because you're evaluating the situation and you're upfront acknowledging yourself and acknowledging your energy meter, and you're acknowledging your time and energy budget. So that's a powerful one, right? Learn the power of your yes and no. Now, before I get to the next two, let me look at this. I get it. My thing is to translate the no in such a manner that it won't cause feeling to flare or relationships turn left. You know what? We got to get to the point where we act in our own best interest, right? Oftentimes we can't keep shrinking ourselves, right? And putting ourselves in goofy situations and voting against ourselves because we don't want other people to feel bad, or we don't want relationships to go a goofy way. Here's the thing, right? Because of who I am, right? Because I'm standing on who I am, because I've decided that I'm going down a certain path, right? If that upsets you, if that offends you, if me not wanting to participate in certain things upsets you, that's none of my business. Love you like I do, that's none of my business. Because again, oftentimes, here's the thing I want you to start looking at. I always talk about the power of focus, right? It's one of our greatest superpowers. So you have the power to zoom in and look at that little situation, that person's feelings, and oh man, I want to hurt their feelings because I'm a good human and I like to give and I'm a servant. And if I say no, that means this, blah, 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 blah. And sometimes you got to zoom out and look at the big picture. If I do this, this leads to this and this leads to this, and I'm going to be stuck. So I need to look at the big picture. I'm okay with you not understanding my progress or my reasoning, right? I'm okay with that, because looking at the big picture, it's like in parenting, right? Sometimes we have to say the hard no, or we have to guide or steer our children away from certain situations, and they get in their feelings. And in some communities, they cuss you out and tell you all about how stupid you are and blah, 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 blah. Not in my community, but in some communities, that's a go, right? But here's the thing. Your guidance in the other direction was in the child's best interest. And it's in your best interest first and foremost. So when I'm telling my son no, first of all, it's in my best interest, right? And then it's in his best interest. So I'm making a decision that's better for all of us. His feelings, they don't get a vote. Ooh, his feelings don't get a vote, right? Not in these situations, because think about it. Think about if you allow your child, right, just because they got in their feelings, to put themselves in harm's way. Or you put yourself in harm's way because of someone's feelings. So that's being here. But we have to be able to zoom in and zoom out, and zoom in and zoom out. And it's a skill that we have to master. Sometimes we need to be here, locked in, dialed in. But then sometimes we need to be here so we can see the whole thing. And what I do is I'm here, and I'm here, and then I'm here, and then I'm here, and I'm deciding. I'm looking at the moment, and I'm grasping the power of the moment. But I'm also looking at the big picture. And I'm like, okay, because as the CEO, I have to think, listen, if we're in a meeting and you're the chief marketing officer, you're telling me how we need to budget all of this into the marketing budget. But then, you know what I mean? The technology VP, right? He's telling me how we need to invest in this software, right? And then, you know, the CFO was telling me how we need to take part of the profits and invest in some coins or something so we can do this. And now all that information is coming, but I'm the decider, right? Everyone is in their place because that's where they belong, because they're an expert in their area, but they're looking at their lane, their department, so to speak. I'm the CEO. I'm looking at everything. So I have to have a 360 vision of what's going on in my life. So I need to be here with you. Okay, yeah, that software will really help us. Okay, boom. But let's look at the whole picture. Where are we at? Boom. What do we need now? Okay, maybe the software is this fall, but the spring summer budget, maybe it needs to go here. Tell me more about this. Okay, you're the CEO. So listen, he can get in his feelings because this software, man, we really need it, blah, blah, blah. Okay, love you like I do. You're in charge of tech for a reason, but thank you. But I'm the decider, right? It's like the president. The general's telling him what to do and blah, 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 blah. But the president is the decider, right? We should bomb them. We should do this. Give me the scenarios. You know how it is in the situation room in the movies? Give me the scenarios, okay? Good point. Okay, what do you think? Okay, Admiral, what do you think? And how does that affect relations? And what's that going to mean? Okay, You know what? Bomb him. Or you know what? Blah, blah, blah. Because he's the decider. You're the decider, right? So listen, sometimes people's feelings, you know what you tell them? Pardon my progress. Pardon my progress. If it's someone who you feel you owe a little something to, listen, I know that upsets you. Pardon my progress. Just like with the children. Hey, listen, that was in your best interest. I know your feelings hurt, so I'm going to give you a pass for slamming my door because I get it. You know what I mean? I'm empathetic to your emotions in this situation. I get it, but that's a hard no. No, you can't go because I see what goes on at their house, and we don't do that at my house. And I can't have you over there because when in Rome, or if something happens over there when I can't do it. So love you like I do. They can come here, but no, you can't spend the night over there. And you can be upset with me, that's okay. But you know I love you, and so, you know what I'm saying? So in parenting, it works that way. But in relationships, hey, look, pardon my progress, but yeah, I ain't gonna be able to do it. Well, you said, listen, I'm on a mission. And you don't have to say anything, but pardon my progress is just something if you feel the need, or as you're navigating through this, right? As you're developing your decisiveness muscle, come on and preach. I like that, right? Sometimes we can sprinkle a little something in there to help us feel better about the situation, because oftentimes it's just how we feel saying no, right? So then, SJ, the fourth thing I talked about was self-assertiveness, right? I said what I said. eliminating gray from our lives. And I don't mean aggressiveness. Get the gray out. I'm over here or I'm over here, right? And if I'm over here, I'm governing myself according to being over here. If I'm over here, I'm governing myself according to be over here, period, right? And then the last one, I think that's where you jumped on, prioritizing your self-care, right? Acting in your own best interest, right? Your own best interest. Oftentimes, those of us that are servants, we feel like it's in my best interest to put everyone else first. But to the contrary, you need to make decisions that are in your own best interest, that set you up for success, right? Your time, your energy, your money, your investment, right? Your mental and emotional health, your physical health. You know what I'm saying? Your relationships, your career, positioning yourself to be successful in all those areas. Oh man, listen, let me tell you, I made that resolution and I've been standing on it to this day. That literally changed my life, brother. No more ambiguity, no more gray. It costs me too much, right? It's too much in my energy budget. We riding or we not? Because either way, I'm okay. And I love you either way. And if we're not riding today, that's fine. But then if next week we decide we riding, cool. But what we're not doing is this. We're not dancing around in the middle. When we eliminate those gray areas, the whole game changes. Because now all this energy and time I was budgeting, wondering if we cool or not, wondering, do I invite Sean? Because I mean, last time it was fun, but the time before that he was tripping and he ain't answered my last 3 texts. And whoa, man, you either my man or you not. Like, we riding or we not. Like, whatever the situation is, right? You all in or you're not. So that was a game changer, brother. So we can talk more about that. Listen, we can talk more about a lot of this stuff, man. But I appreciate you bringing it up. Listen, I have to dash. So if there's any questions that I couldn't get to, please shoot me a message with the question. Or if there's a subject that you'd like me to do one of these master classes on, because they're going down every day of the week, 12:30. I'm showing up and standing and delivering. So thank you for everyone that joined. Thank you for the comments and questions and such. I appreciate you. Do me a favor. Once I post this, man, like it, share it, invite some other folks, man. Listen, put it on your calendar, man. Every day, have lunch with me. You know what I mean? Make a sandwich and turn me on and let's rock and roll. I appreciate you all so much. And listen, if there's anything that you need help unwinding, that you need help connecting the dots in your life, any way that I can be of service, don't hesitate to reach out to me. That's who I am. That's what I do. Y'all be great.